your DNA. Hella chocolate melanin from the motherland with your black skin. Never should you want it any other way. Second things first, still blackity black, black, still blackity black, black, still blackity black. It's a blessing, not a curse. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget. If you need reminders, then run this back.
All right, I definitely need a reminder, so I had to run it back. It's so funny because I've had that. I've been bumping that for what? When did that come out? A year or two ago? And I just saw the video. Pretty cool. Shout out to Anton King because that's a dope track. That's definitely one of my pick-me-ups. I actually just forwarded it to my girlfriends because positive message. That's what they need to hear. So, remember how I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna come back and record about me. Yeah, that didn't happen yesterday. So just to give you an idea of PA school schedule, we started at 9, ended at 3, and came home 8, took a break, and then I studied from 9 to 5, and then woke up. And I am recording now before I get to studying. So yesterday was definitely one of the days I had to use my flexibility skill because I was like, I had all this stuff on my to-do list. Well, guess what's not gonna happen is me record videos. I'm kind of in study mode, so. And I also had to come to Jesus moment because I thought I could do about me in like a 5-minute video. That's not gonna happen. So this is gonna be an introduction. I have an outline now, and then different parts of the about me, like how I got into PA school, what my interview process was like, what my application process was like, will come at a later end. So this video is more so about my why and just a little bit about me. So my name is Xoxo Angel Eto. If you can say Xoxo, you're welcome to. If you cannot, then please call me Angel. I'm Nigerian, I'm Igbo, and we definitely have our own alphabet. So it's not a matter of just reading it, it's also knowing the language and understanding how we pronounce our vowels. So you're definitely gonna hear me, people always correct me like I'm mispronouncing stuff because in the Nigerian accent, we emphasize different part of the syllables than Americans and Europeans do. So my accent is like a whole mesh sometimes. I say certain words and I was like, what are you trying to say? Anyway, I digress. So born in London, raised in Nigeria, moved to the States for school. Moved to Georgia, was in Georgia until I moved to Washington State to go to PA school. I graduated with a sociology degree. I got a master's of social work, and I worked as a social worker for several years and loved it. I really do. I think I'm a natural social worker. It's just in my DNA, advocacy, taking care of the most underserved, marginalized people that I can find. That's just kind of me. That's like, anyway, again, I digress, I'm rambling. But so worked as a social worker for several years. And one thing about social work that I learned is that you definitely get to see the aftermath of the health disparities you usually hear about as buzzwords. And you are, in a sense, on the front lines to see what poverty does, to see what lack of resources does, to see what society, the way society is ran, what the impact it has on our most vulnerable populations. So that's kind of when I started getting an itch to do more on social work. And then the thing about social work is there's a certain learned helplessness that you have to kind of come to terms with and adopt for your sanity, for you to get the work done, and for you not to, I don't want to be crass, but to have the slightest resemblance of boundaries when there's literally nothing else you can do to help someone. Like, there's nothing else you can do. All the shelters are full. I know you have a child. I know you have nowhere to sleep, but all I can give you is this list of this piece of paper, and hopefully, you find a bed tonight. Or they don't have my meds, I don't have insurance, I'm getting kicked out. It's just, there's only so much you can do for people, especially when you are functioning in a system that's not really designed to help people. But the sprinkle on it and the icing on the cake is how undervalued social workers are in most professions. I always say it's really interesting that when the minute something goes down or there's a disaster, call social work. Oh, you need mental health assistance? Call social work. Oh, you need housing? Social work. You have substance abuse? Social work. But yet social workers tend to be the least paid and the least valued. And I would make recommendations that were not necessarily taken to heart because of the degree, because I was just a social worker. And I think that's when I started saying I wanted more autonomy. I wanted to have more decision making in the lives of the clients and the patients that I work with. But there was a bigger design at play, okay? So I'm at work, social worker. I can't remember which position I was in because I've done it all. But I remember that I was at work and my ears stuffed up. It just literally, not that I'm in PA school, I know what to call it, but it stuffed up and I couldn't hear. And it was just getting duller and duller. And I was driving and I saw an urgent care pulled in, went in. And while he was, because I think I tried to flush it out, but it didn't work. So I went to urgent care. And I remember looking at his name on his coat. And I said, I'm sorry, but that doesn't say MD after your name. Like, what are you? And he said, I'm a physician assistant. Can you say mind blown? Because I was like, hold up a second. What is that? Who is that? What are you telling me about? And that's when I started doing research about the profession. And I fell in love with it. And it aligned with exactly where I was in my life and the trajectory I was going in. So that's kind of like my introduction. But I think what interests me is the fact that happened 3 years ago. I have a family of medical professionals. So it's really interesting that I didn't know PAs existed until, look at me doing the wrong timeline, about 5 years ago. No idea. So of course, when I found out about the profession and did research and understood what it would take for me to get into PA school, you have that moment where I was a non-clinical major. I mean, I majored in sociology. We're not taking science classes. So when I saw the list of prerequisites I had to take, I'm like, Jesus, Lord, when will I even start applying? And what do you mean applying? Organic chemistry, biochem? Who do you think is about to do that? So, and I still have the journal I wrote all those classes in because I remember my mindset at that point, and it was really like, this is never going to happen. Am I sure? Like, how am I going to pay for this? I have a full-time job. I have a kid. Like, what are you doing? But I'm going to fast forward a bit and say that in that journey, fast forward 5 years, I applied and now I'm in PA school. So that's kind of like about me. I moved from Georgia to Seattle. We're gonna leave that for a different video clip. It's interesting. This is actually one of the better days in Seattle. But so that's been different. I mean, cross country to go to PA school. But I think in my journey in applying for PA schools, getting rejections, choosing to apply again, it was definitely a lot of asking myself, how about do you want it? I mean, I had a master's. I could easily have been a licensed clinical social worker, but I want to be a PA. I definitely wanted the opportunity to provide quality medical care for our underserved populations that I am very well versed in working with and have a passion to work with. So that was kind of like my driving force. That's my why, and that's how I ended up in Washington, Seattle at MedX. And I'll talk about MedX in another video because MedX been around since 1969. And It was the last and final school I actually applied to. And I fell in love with the program because of the founder of the program. I don't want this to be a 15-minute video, so I'm trying to, like, drop a little bit of the tea because it's going to segue into what I talk about in the next video. But the founder of the program and his mission and what he did, and there's a quote from the description that says, like, pretty much extending his healing hands. And he advocated for physician assistants as a role and mid-level providers to kind of alleviate the burden of primary care physicians to really go service this underserved populations. And he did his projects in, I'm Nigerian, so I'm not gonna refer to them as third world countries, but he did this project in, like, actually he did it in Nigeria, So, and countries like Nigeria, and that was kind of like the birth. So for my long-term goal and my 10, 15-year goal to start a nonprofit that is geared towards educating members of underserved populations on basic clinical procedures, whether it is how to do a splint, how to reduce shoulder dislocation, what to do in case of emergency, I think that that would have long-term impact on the quality of lives of these people. So that's like my long-term 15-year plan, okay? But to kind of like walk in the footsteps of someone who did exactly what I was trying to do was kind of like oh my God, this is exactly where I am. I'm exactly where I need to be. I'm exactly in the program that I need to be in. And I will say, with all the ups and downs of being in PA school, I do not regret any decision or any outcome or any of my experiences so far. So that's about me. I don't think I'm gonna watch this video. I typically don't, because since I'm not gonna edit, there's no point. So I do apologize if I slipped up and cussed. I have a potty mouth, so I probably did. And I will say that I have a lot of quirks. I say, I make noises, I do, my cousin was braiding my hair and she was the one that was like, do you know you do this, you do this? I was like, I mean, I'm usually talking to myself in my apartment, so not really. So it's really interesting for someone to like recognize the quirks that I have, but I have a lot. And you guys are probably gonna see some of them with the frequency of videos that I create, but that's about me in a nutshell. And I am about to get my study on for the day because I would really love to be done with these objective sets. Just to give you some tea of what my study desk looks like. There we go. I have 1, 2, 3 screens behind me, and definitely still use my phone, especially when I need to look up images or definitions of words that are being used. Fun stuff that I like to do, because I definitely advocate of you having a sense of self besides being PA school, is I love to write. I'm not going to talk about my novel until I actually finish it and get it published, because I'm tired of talking and telling people about it. But I love to write, I love to dance, I'm artsy, so color, any kind of anything that really expresses me, in a sense. I love movies. I am very biased towards international movies, especially Korean films. I think there's some Dutch films I like. I like their market and like the stories that they tell, and New Zealand shows and films. So I love shows with like the subtitles. I blame growing up in Nigeria and watching all this Indian Bollywood with all the subtitles, so I'm well versed in that. But yeah, movies and television is like my mind-numbing activity. So I love when the stories can truly like take me somewhere else besides PA school. That's about it, I think. I'm sure I'll do another one of these to share some more about myself, but I'm also an open book, so again, with the frequency of the videos that I publish, you're gonna learn everything you need to know. Feel free to hit me up and ask me questions if you like. The next video is going to be the next segment of the About Me, and I think that I talk about the application process and what that was like and what I recommend, and then I will move on to the next point on my outline. Hope you're having an awesome, what day is this? Thursday? It is Thursday. Hope you're having an awesome Thursday. I'm about to get to studying and talk to you soon. Bye.